Lovely to see everybody. So you might need a block cushion to sit yourself up on. We'll see how we go. Oh, welcome, welcome. Bit chilly, so if you are in a colder room as well, then grab yourself a little blanket or a scarf for the beginning and the end when we're not quite so warm. So I follow. I think I said last class I talked about Matt Haig, who wrote The Midnight Library, and he suffers from depression, so he finds lockdown particularly challenging. And he's got a lovely guide. I'm going to put it on my Facebook page tomorrow. His top tips for surviving lockdown. And his first one I really liked. The first thing he said was, get a routine baggy enough to live in. Uncertainty breeds anxiety, and routines are the counterbalance. And I really like that he talks about having a baggy routine. And so there's the kind of some flexibility and room for maneuver in it. And it reminded me of a yoga philosophy that we can carry both on and off the mat. And maybe particularly at this time, it might be useful to consider throughout the practice and then maybe in the week ahead or weeks ahead. And these particular contradictory terms are, when we're doing our practice, to find a balance between feeling strong, but also balancing that with feeling comfortable and easy and relaxed in a posture. And it's they kind of, the yogic texts talk about kind of having too much of one or the other is not necessarily a good thing, either in yoga or in life. If we're focusing on the strength, just thinking about that routine, we can become far too rigid and inflexible, and when plans change or we're forced to change, we find that very difficult to deal with. And equally, if we've got too much of the easy and relaxed attitude towards things, then that can lead us perhaps to feeling a little bit too comfortable, never pushing ourselves, not building up that sense of resilience, both on and off the mat in our postures and in life. So I thought that we're kind of just thinking about that throughout the practice today. So when we're in our postures, maybe when we're in our warrior, just thinking about where we can soften, where we can find that balance between feeling comfortable but also strong. So yeah, let's have a little play with those two oppositional forces today. Balancing comfort with strength. So we're going to start lying down today. So if you've got a little block and you want to pop it underneath your head, I'm just going to let somebody in. Feel free. So come to lie yourself down on your back, bringing your little cushion or blankets with you if you need to put them underneath the back of the head. And I always find lying completely flat at the beginning of a practice just doesn't suit me at all. So I like to pop something just underneath my head. And it just kind of helps bring my neck into alignment with the rest of my body there, rest of my spine. So have a little shuffle around, sliding the shoulder blades down the back. You can stretch the legs out. I'm going to keep my legs bent to begin with. Again, it's just more comfortable for my back this morning. You might walk your feet a little wider apart and knock your knees together. And the hands might be resting down alongside you with the palms facing up. Or if you are feeling, as many of us perhaps are, a little bit discombobulated by the way recent events have shifted, you might just want that reassurance of a hand on your lower belly and on your chest there. So closing the eyes for a moment, let's just take a moment. We're not going to stay down on the floor on our backs for too long this morning, but let's just take a moment to arrive. And Matt Haig, also in his words of wisdom for lockdown survival, talks about breathing. Breathe. He says, breath is our mood barometer. I love that. Breath is our mood barometer. So checking in with your breath barometer this morning. You've had a busy morning, a busy week. You might find that the breath is sitting in your chest, a little bit colder, so that tends to happen when it gets colder. It's more comfortable for us to breathe a little bit more shallowly, if there is such a word, in a shallow fashion. But we know from our yoga practice, from all we've learned, that breathing deep down into our lower belly is certainly more relaxing for us, the most efficient way of bringing oxygen into our body. So let's just begin to settle the breath. Seeing if we can gradually encourage the breath to deepen and lengthen, but never forcing things, particularly, excuse me, early on in a practice. Belly and chest rising and falling in synchronicity with your breath as we just take a moment to allow everything to settle. I always like to think about these kind of opening moments on a mat. It's like we're little snow globes that arrive at the mat, having just been shaken up, dealing with whatever we have been dealing with in the week thus far, and we just take a moment to let everything settle. So we can begin our practice from that place of steadiness and ease. So throughout our practice this morning, really kind of working with those two forces of strength and comfort, or steadiness and ease. Lovely. So a couple more steadying and easy breaths there, getting the body ready for the practice ahead, just attuning yourself this morning to the rhythm of your breath. And then we'll just slide the heels back in towards you if you've got the legs outstretched. If you've got anything underneath your head, you might just want to pop it out to the side there so the back of the head is resting on the floor. And we'll gather the knees in towards the chest there. So one hand on each knee. You might need just to rearrange your hips a little bit. And you might just want to rock gently from side to side, or have a little circle of the knees. Just easing your way into the lower back, the tops of the buttocks there, just releasing any tension. Lovely. And then we'll keep the knees drawn in towards your chest, but bring the arms down alongside you with the palms down towards the floor. So you're going to work a little bit on shoulders and hamstrings, a 2-in-1 exercise to begin with. So just make sure your knees have dropped away from your chest and your belly, and your back is now arching. So really see if you can begin to engage through those core muscles, firm up through the belly. And then as you take a nice deep breath in, we'll take the legs up towards the ceiling and reach both arms back above the head, back of the hands just finding the floor. So you might need to take the arms out in a nice wide V. Now flex the feet, spread the fingers. And then as you exhale, the heels drop to the bottom as you bend the knees, and we'll bring the arms all the way back down alongside you. So inhaling, taking the legs up, really firming up through the belly so the back doesn't arch as you reach the arms back, flexing the feet. And then exhale, all the way back down again. So we'll do that 3 more times. So just finding a little bit of openness through the backs of the legs, and beginning to warm up through the shoulders. But more importantly, we're finding the rhythm of our breath. I think we've got 2 more. Lovely. We'll make this the last one. We might have been doing an extra one, but that's no bad thing. So legs go all the way up as the arms reach back again. Keeping the hands nice and lively as you spread the fingers, flex the feet, and then we'll bring the heels down, the hands down, knees, hands coming to the knees, or widen the knees and hook the ankles, and just take a little circle there. So knees slightly wider, so beginning to warm up into the hips. And recross the ankles the opposite way, and just take the body round the opposite way in that little circle there. We're going to come up and over onto a seated position. So by all means, roll to one side or hold on behind the knees and whoop, roll your way up to a comfortable seated position. Now this is when, again, you might want your blocks. I'm going to pop my blocks just underneath my bottom there. So my hips are elevated ever so slightly, because again, I want that lovely balance between comfort and ease. I've got my right shin crossed in front of my left shin. Lovely. And I'm just sitting towards the front of my little props there. So my pelvis is dropping forwards. Let's take a moment to find that workable seat. So allow the shoulders to soften and just find that lovely length. So imagine you're being very gently just pulled up from the crown of the head, but the shoulders aren't following. So everything else just settling down away from the ears as you reach up through the crown of the head. Lovely. And from that lovely drawn up position, we'll bring the fingertips to the floor in front of you. And as you inhale, we'll float both arms up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, flex the wrists and push the palms out to the side. So again, keeping the shoulders down, away from the ears, palms up towards the ceiling. Big breath in as you reach all the way up. Lovely. And as you exhale, just soften the fingers, soften the wrists as you bring the hands down to the floor in front of you. And again, inhaling up. Beautiful. Exhale. So a little bit of strength through the arms as you flex the wrist and push the fingers away from you. Inhaling, gathering the arms all the way up, up, up. And then exhale, softening, softening all the way down. We'll do that just once more. So all the way up. Big breath in and big breath out as you sweep the arms down. Again, just keeping the wrist flexed all the way up. Last one. Inhale. And exhale, fingertips finding the floor. Lovely. So we're going to sweep both arms up towards the ceiling. But this time we'll bring the right hand down just by the right hip and come into a little side stretch. So left arm reaching overhead. And we'll find again that comfort, that strength and ease in the position. So a little softness in the supporting elbow. But there's that lovely lengthening through that top arm. So really feel that you're finding that space all the way down the left side of the body without lifting up through that left buttock. Lovely. You might want to turn the gaze up towards the ceiling, but find that place again of comfort for your neck this morning. Lovely. And you might begin to straighten that underneath arm a little bit more. Lovely. So you're not collapsing in the underneath waist again without being too rigid. Beautiful. We'll come all the way up towards the ceiling. Keep that left arm raised up. We're going to bend the elbow. So you might need to drop your chin down towards your chest as you bring your fingertips just onto the back of that left shoulder there. Right hand comes just to the tricep, just to support your upper arm as you lift the chin and try and point that left elbow up towards the ceiling there. Lovely. So the head isn't dipping forwards. You might want to just have a little stroke there. So almost stroking those muscle fibers, encouraging them to find that little bit of space from your armpit to your elbow. And some of you who are very open in the shoulders might be able to take your right arm out to the side, reach behind you. You might need to lean forwards and see if you can hook your fingertips. So you're holding on to your fingertips there. If it doesn't quite reach, you can always just take hold of a piece of your t-shirt or just keep your hand resting on your upper arm. Lovely. So whatever that right arm is doing, we've got the left elbow pointed up towards the ceiling. Take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, we'll take a little side bend to the right. So without the body pitching forwards, keep glued down through that left sit bone. Ooh, lovely. We'll come all the way back up through center. Release the arm. So left arm reaching all the way up, stretch it out. And then we'll bring it forwards and across the body this time. So I'm just going to catch it with my right arm there. Drop that left shoulder and we'll get a nice stretch out through the upper back and across the shoulder. Lovely. And without the body following, right ear to right shoulder. So we're not leaning to the right, so really root down through that left sit bone. Drop that left shoulder so we're getting a nice stretch out through the neck. Oh, lovely. We'll come all the way back through center. I'm going to reach that left arm out to the side, fingertips finding the floor. Other hand can rest on your knee or your thigh, a little bit more for the neck. So right ear drops again to right shoulder. Lovely. So we're going to flex that left wrist and just bring the arm up, level with the shoulder. Keep pushing, pushing, pushing up through the wrist. Oh, pushing up through the palm. Lovely. And then slowly lower the fingertips just to the floor. So inhaling, we're going to reach that left arm all the way up so the fingertips are leading the way. So you're scooping the arm up, just level with the shoulder. And then slowly, slowly release. And if you're anything like me, I can really feel this all the way through my wrist, that carpal tunnel, carpal muscle down through the wrist. Lovely. Oh, let's bring the head back through center and just take a little circle through the wrist. Oh, could you feel that one? It's that kind of stretch there, isn't it, where we can get carpal tunnel syndrome if we're not careful. So really good for the wrists. If the hands a little shake, we'll recross the legs the opposite way. So again, you can pop the cushions underneath you. So this time we've got the left shin crossed in front of us. Beautiful, fingertips finding the floor. Nice breath in as you reach the arms up. Grow up really tall and then exhale. Energy through the arms as you just bring the hands down alongside you. Lovely. Breathing in. And breathing out, fingertips just finding the floor. So twice more. So finding that length through both sides of the waist as you inhale, and then it's like a little corkscrew. The shoulders drop and the crown of the head lifts up as you bring the fingertips to the floor. Shoulders stay down away from the ears as you inhale, and exhale, fingertips to floor. Let's do that once more. So inhaling up. So flexing the wrist, really lead with the palm so that the underside of the wrist is really pushing away from you, all the way up. And fingertips finding the floor. So we'll take both arms up towards the ceiling, throwing up really tall, but this time the left hand comes down alongside the hip and the right arm reaches all the way alongside the ear. I'm going to look down to start with and soften that supporting elbow. Find again that sense of ease, that comfort in the posture, but then I'll find that sense of strength and length through the top arm as I arrow that right arm alongside my ear there. Lovely. And you might, if it's comfortable on the neck, take the gaze up towards the ceiling so you get that lovely opening through that top armpit, and maybe start to straighten that underneath arm a little bit more so we're not collapsing in the underneath waist there. Beautiful. Let's reach all the way up towards the ceiling with the right arm. And then drop the arm and bring it across the chest. So right shoulder drops, left hand just brings that right arm across the chest there. Ooh, one side might feel tighter than the other. So you might hook it with your elbow, you might just be holding it with your wrist there, whatever works for you. And then left ear to left shoulder this time. So be careful, if you can see yourself on the screen, make sure you're not leaning Tower of Pisa. So really sit down into that right bottom. Lovely. Let's come all the way back through center. Oh, we haven't done a little tricep stretch, have we? It's going to reach that arm, that left arm, right arm, sorry, all the way up towards the ceiling. Bending the elbow, fingertips, just going to reach down towards your shoulder blade and then lift the chin and just bring that left hand to give a little bit of support there on the tricep. You might again want to, nobody told me. How could we miss this stretch out? You might want to reach that left arm out to the side, palm away from you, leaning forwards a little bit. See if you can hook your fingers together and then lift and open through the chest there. Lovely. So whatever that left arm is doing, you might be holding underneath or wrapping it behind, or take a little side stretch to the left this time. Lovely. Let's come all the way back up through center, and we'll come straight back, bringing the right fingertips down to the floor alongside the hip. Left hand can just rest on your thigh or your knee, and again we'll drop left ear to left shoulder. So we'll go straight back in with that little neck stretch. Sorry guys, you see I am human, I know you were wondering. So flexing the wrist as you inhale, we're going to scoop that right arm just up until it's level with the shoulder. And then exhale as you lower it down. So real energy out through the palm of that right hand, pushing away from you. So you lift it up as you inhale. One side might feel distinctly different. Because I mirror you, I'm actually lifting my left arm. And I'm right-handed. So this is far less painful than the other side. Lovely. We'll come all the way back through center, lift the head, and again, take a little shake out through the wrist. So you might notice that your more dominant side, right or left-handed, is the side where the wrists are a little bit stiffer, but really good one to prepare us for our downward dogs. Speaking of which, let's come round and over onto all fours. So you might want to pop your cushions out of the way so that you're not going to trip over them or kneel on them later on. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath your hips in that lovely tabletop position. And before we get going, just again, find that sense of strength and ease. So even though the arms are straight, we're not locking at the elbows there. So firming up through the belly. So we've got a lovely long spine that includes the back of the neck. So we're just looking towards the top of the mat there. Lovely, setting the foundations. And then as you inhale, drop the belly, lift the tailbone, allow the heart to lift without throwing the head too far back. Exhale, rounding up like an angry cat as you hollow out through the belly. Just roll with your breath now, finding that lovely synchronicity of movement with breath. Remembering this morning if your shoulders or chest feel a little bit tight, Just widen your hands, maybe a little wider than shoulder width. I really like that slight adjustment. I must have very tight shoulders. And so this for me, just widening my hands just gives me a little bit more space to move. So have a little play there. Lovely. Let's do that just once more. So again, just finding that rhythm of your breath again. And we'll come back to that lovely tabletop position, bringing your hands underneath your shoulders. If you widen them, take an inhale. And as you exhale, slide your hips down towards your heels, coming into a child pose. We'll walk the arms forwards. So staying up on your fingertips if you can, so the palms and the elbows are lifted. And let's just take a couple of lovely breaths there into the back of the body, feeling the side body open and expand this morning. I'm doing a lovely yoga challenge with Yoga with Adrienne. It's all online, it's all free, and it's focusing on the breath. It's lovely to do. If anyone is interested, do join me. Let's take one more beautiful, spacious breath there. Lovely, and then we'll flatten the hands, come back onto all fours, tucking the toes under, breathing in, and as you breathe out, let's come into a downward dog this morning. So start to pedal out through the feet, and this is one where if we're not too mindful, we can become quite rigid. I know I can in this posture. So just pop a little bend, a little micro bend in the elbows there. We've got the fingers spread. Maybe just have a little shake of the head, so you're saying no. And maybe nod the head, so you're saying yes. And then find a really comfortable position for your gaze, maybe between your thumbs, maybe between your heels, or I like to look straight down at the mat. As you pedal out through the feet, keep it nice and squidgy, maybe a little sassy wag of your tail as you shift the hips from side to side. Lovely, and then we'll bring the legs to stillness. We'll keep the feet hip width apart, little bend in the knees, and think about lifting your sit bones up and back. So you're really, so someone is just gently tugging your hips up and back on the diagonal. So you feel a lovely lengthening through the side body. And maybe the heels can begin to drop down towards the earth with a sense of heaviness there, but without forcing them. Let's just take an easy breath there. So again, a little softness, making sure you've not locked the elbows. Coming back to that, that's always my watch point. Lovely, let's take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, come back down onto all fours. And then back into that child pose, flattening feet, hips coming to heels. We'll reach the arms forwards and come up onto the fingertips of that right hand as you feed your left arm underneath. So we're coming into a little thread needle this morning. So try and lift that right armpit up a little bit, leaning in towards the left shoulder blade. Lovely. And then we'll change sides. So left arm reaching forward, so you're right up on your fingertips, giving yourself space to feed your right arm underneath. So you're kind of trying to lift and open that left armpit towards the ceiling there. So a little bit of leaning into the right side of the body there. Beautiful. And then we'll reach both arms out in front of you, sliding the hands underneath the shoulders as you come back onto all fours. Beautiful. So hands under shoulders, knees underneath the hips. So we're going to take the right leg back behind you. Just making sure that you've not lifted that right hip. So both hip bones pointing down towards the floor. We'll just lift that right leg. Level with the hip, toes pointing down towards the floor, firm up through the belly. And take the left arm out in front of you. So opposite arm to leg. Lovely. We're reaching the fingertips forwards. Take an inhale. Exhale. Knee to chest, elbow towards your knee. Lovely. Twice more. Inhale, looking forwards as you extend. Exhale as you squeeze everything together. Lovely. Once more. Inhale. And exhale. 3 more. This time on the diagonal as you can, if you can. Reaching the arm and the leg. Lovely. Out on the diagonal and then squeezing everything to center. Beautiful. So this time we'll take the arm and the leg out to the diagonal and just pause there. You can always bring your hand down and just work the leg if you're feeling a little bit wibbly wobbly this morning. Beautiful. And then reach forwards and back. We'll bring the hand down and bring that right foot back to the floor behind you. We'll come round face on. Lovely. Then we're going to sweep that right leg out to the side, bringing your big toe level with your underneath knee, and then walking the hands back, lifting up so we're in a gate pose. So right leg out to the side. Beautiful t-shirt adjustments, lovely. So if your ankle on that right leg feels a little bit funny, you can always spin your toes up towards the ceiling. Beautiful, take an inhale. And as you exhale, let's take a lovely stretch to the right. So left arm up and over. Just make sure your bottom hasn't dropped back, so keep the hips pressed forwards, lovely. We'll bring the arms out level with the shoulders, lift that right hip up, and we'll reach down towards the floor. So this time the right arm reaching overhead, using our oblique muscles to hold us there, hips to center. Inhale as you reach the arms out. Exhale as you come over to the right. You can look up or down towards your foot, whatever works. Find that comfort. Come back through center. So we'll pop that top hip up, reaching down with the left hand. So fingertips might just be hovering off the floor, or you can bring the left hand down, just shift the weight forward so shoulder is above wrist, and lift that top leg. So lifting the right leg, lovely. And then if you've got enough flexibility in the hips and the quads, we can bend the knee and see if you can take hold of your right foot. And then think about lifting the chest forwards, crown of the head coming towards the top of your mat there, a little quad stretch. You can always skip this bit if that's uncomfortable or you can't catch your foot. Beautiful. Let's release arm and leg back into that little stretch. Beautiful. And then bring the right foot to the floor, and then we'll whoosh, push ourselves all the way back up. Lovely, into our gate pose. Bring the hands down. Lovely. Now that right foot, you're going to toe heel until it comes forwards between your hands there. So you've got your right foot between your hands, ready for a lunge. Beautiful. So we'll inhale, sweep the arms up. And exhale as you float the arms down. So a little bit of stretch in that left hip. Inhale, push into the sole of that right foot as you lift up. And then exhale as you bring the arms down. Lovely. Once more, inhaling up. And exhaling down. This time we'll land the hands to frame that front foot. Now, you're going to make the decision here whether you feel the strength to lift that back knee and then take the right arm up towards the ceiling, coming into a twist. And if that's a little bit too strong for you, drop the back knee. So if, like me, you've chosen to build a little bit of strength here, just draw that right hip in and back, make sure it's not popped out to the side. And some of you might even be able to lean back and take that top arm back. Beautiful. Let's take one more inhale there. And as you exhale, bring both hands down to the inside of that front foot. If you've not got your back knee lifted, lift it up and have a little shuffle back with that left foot. So as you bring the knee down, your knee is well behind your hip. And walk that right foot slightly out to the right, turning the toes out about 45 degrees. And just see if you can look forwards and just drop the weight forwards, opening up into the top of that left hip. So some of you might be on your fists, some of you might be on your fingertips there. Lovely. So that might be quite enough on your hips today. But you might want to roll that right knee open. So you're just rolling that right knee out to balance on the blade of the little toe, the outside edge of the foot. Right hand comes to the inner knee and we turn the chest. So we're looking up towards the ceiling there, gently easing that knee out to the side. If that's too much, keep both hands on the floor. Beautiful little version of lizard pose. Lovely. Let's look down, bring both hands down. Now bring the sole of that right foot to the floor. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, we'll draw the hips back, lifting the toes of that right foot. You might need to walk your hands back towards you. So we've got the legs slightly out on the diagonal, so we're getting a slightly different stretch on our hamstring. Ooh, we need the flexibility as well as the strength, don't we? So good for the stretches. Beautiful. Slowly, slowly, let's walk the hands forward, bend the knee, and we'll take that right leg all the way back behind you, and then bringing both knees down underneath the hips. Tuck the toes, lift the heart as you inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Have a little pedal out through the feet. Lovely. And then that same leg, that right leg, take all the way up behind you, turning the toes out to the side, take an inhale. And as you exhale, we're going to bend the knee and point that right knee up towards the ceiling, dropping the heel down towards your bottom. Keep pressing into both hands. You can do this from all fours. Lovely. Take an inhale. Exhale, shift the weight forwards. Right knee coming to right elbow. So you come into a little plank. Inhale, right leg all the way up and back, three-legged dog. Exhale, right knee to left elbow, comes across the body, building up some strength. Lovely. Inhale, leg comes all the way up and back. Exhaling, knee to chest, come forwards. Woo! Inhale, take the leg all the way up. Exhale, bringing the foot down to the floor. Inhale as you drop down onto all fours, widening the knees this time, mat width. Flatten the feet and breathe out back into that child pose. Woo, that was good. Have a little walk in the hips side to side, reach the arms forwards. We're going to repeat that thread needle, but this time you might feel it more in your hips. So coming up onto the fingertips of that right hand, we'll feed the left arm underneath. So we're having a little peek underneath the armpit. And just try and sit into that left buttock there. And you might feel a little stretch on your left inner thigh. Lovely. And then we'll change sides. So this time we've got the left fingertips imprinting onto the mat, lifting up, taking a little twist, having a little peep underneath the armpit as you reach that right arm underneath you. Beautiful. And then from there, we'll reach the arms in front of you and coming back onto all fours, bringing the hands under the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips there. We'll try that little sequence, a little bit of mix of flexibility and strength. This time taking the left leg back behind you, again, making sure both hip creases point to the floor, lifting the leg hip height, firming up through the belly as you reach the right arm forwards this time. So opposite arm and leg, lovely. Take an inhale. Exhale as you squeeze everything to center. Ooh, inhale as you reach forwards and back. Exhale as you round up through the back. Lovely. Once more. So take the gaze forwards as you extend the arm. Lovely. And then squeeze it all in on the diagonal now. 3 more. Ooh, inhale. And exhale. So if it's too much to work the arm and the leg, you can just bring the hands down and work the leg this morning. So this next time, shall we hold? Yes, they say. Right arms up on the diagonal. Beautiful. And then we'll reach forwards and back. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. And we'll bring now the left foot to the floor. And we'll sweep the leg out to the side. So just drawing a little semicircle with your toes until your big toe lines up with your right knee, walking the hands back. So we'll find ourselves in that gate pose, this time with the left leg out to the side. So remembering you can always spin your toes up towards the ceiling if that's more comfortable, like a little Cossack. Lovely. Take an inhale as you reach the arms apart, and exhale will come over to the left. So the right arm sweeps overhead. Make sure the hips haven't dropped back, so push the hips forwards. Lovely. We'll come back through center. Just lift that top hip a little bit for balance. Right fingertips just reaching down towards the floor. Some of you with really long arms might reach the floor. Lovely. Come back to center. Square off through the hips. Inhale. Exhale. Back over to the left. Ooh, lovely. Inhale through center. Hips swing to center. Lift that top hip. And we'll come down either using our obliques just to hover the fingertips off the floor, or bring the right hand to the floor. You might need to then to shift the weight forward so your shoulder is above your wrist and top arm alongside the ear. You can stay there, again, pushing the hips forwards, or lift that top leg. Lovely. You can bend the knee. See if you can take hold around the top of the foot. Lovely. Push the chest forwards, reach the crown of the head to the top of the mat. Little quad stretch. Beautiful. And then release the arm, release the leg back into that stretch. Foot coming to the floor. Let's push ourselves back up into gate pose. Beautiful. And then we'll bring the hands down. Hands underneath your shoulders. Let me just come to the side there. Lovely. And then we'll sweep that left leg all the way forward. So walk it forwards until it comes between your hands at the top of your mat. So find your way into that lunge, left foot between the hands this time. That's it. It's not the easiest of transitions there. Inhale as you sweep the arms up, back on track with that little lunge. Exhale as you lower the arms. Lovely. So really push the floor away. A little bit of strength in that underneath leg. Lovely. So just once more, someone's just dropped out of class. Inhale as you sweep the arms up. And this time as you exhale, we'll bring both hands down to frame that front foot. You okay there, Sarah? So deciding again whether you want to build up a little bit of strength and lift that back knee or keep the back knee down as you take a twist to the left this time. So if like me, you've chosen that kind of stronger option, you're pushing that back heel away from you, drawing that left hip in and back and opening up through the chest. So it's a relatively simple pose, but it's a strong pose, hey? Lovely. And then as you look down, the hands come to the inside of that front foot. Pick up the back knee if you've not done so. So we'll wiggle back with the right foot. So when you bring the knee down, it's well behind your hip. Take that left foot slightly out to the left. Toes just out on the diagonal. And then we'll just allow the body to drop forward. So you can see that I'm allowing my hips just to sink forwards a little bit. Don't worry if they don't come as close to the floor as mine. My hips are quite open there, but some of us get very tight in the hip. So some of you might be on your fists, you might be on your fingertips. You might want to just roll that left knee open. Now this is my stiffer hip, so I feel that that's kind of as far as I want to go. You might want to bring your hand to the inside of the knee, gently encourage a little bit of pressure on the inside of the knee, not too much as you turn the chest. Turn the gaze up towards the ceiling. So this is my much stiffer side. Body giving us those messages of why do you keep crossing your legs the same way? Ooh, guilty as charged. Yeah. Bring the hands down to the inside of the foot. We'll bring the sole of the foot to the floor. Take a nice breath in, and as you breathe out, hips draw back. So I'm going to walk my hands back a little bit. Toes of that front foot pulling up towards you. Or you might choose to keep the sole of the foot on the floor and a bend in the knee. Or so we're getting a slightly different hamstring stretch there. Beautiful. We'll bend the knee, bring the foot to the floor, and then we'll sweep that leg all the way back behind you, bringing the knee underneath your hip. Tuck the toes, lift the chest, inhale. Exhale, ooh, downward facing dog. Have a little hang out there, a little shift of the weight from foot to foot, maybe a little shake of the head there. And then that little squidgy walk, just start to move it forwards now. So you're walking your feet towards the top of your mat, coming into a forward fold this morning. And if a forward fold doesn't suit you, just bring your hands just above your knees, lift your chest up if you don't like having your head lower than your heart. If you're okay in that forward fold, you can dangle the arms, you can catch hold of your elbows, maybe do that little semicircular sway from side to side, drawing that little semicircle with your arms over your feet. Let it all go. Feels nice, hey? And then we'll keep a softness in the knees. Let go of your elbows. Keep the chin tucked in as you slowly roll your way up to stand. Head comes up last so we don't get giddy. Beautiful. Head comes up. Let's take a nice shoulder roll. So as you inhale, roll the shoulders forwards and up. And exhale, slide them all the way back and down. Let me adjust the camera. Inhale, slide the shoulders forwards and up. And exhale, back and down. Some of you are having problems with your connection today. Inhale, up. And exhale down. Lovely. So we'll allow the shoulders to settle down away from the ears. We'll bring the hands to the heart, standing at the top of your mat with your feet hip width apart. So I'm going to be stepping your right leg back first. So just that. So making sure you've got some space behind you. Let's just take a moment to find in this beautiful mountain posture that sense of steadiness and ease. So there's a spreading of the toes and a real feeling that you're dropping the weight into all four corners of your feet. Don't miss a corner. And so you really feel that you've got those lovely firm and solid foundations. And then we're lifting up through the front seam of the body, breastbone meeting your thumbs, shoulders sliding down away from your ears, face is soft. So again, we feel that sense of strength, but also ease in our mountain. Beautiful. Lovely. So when you're ready, as you inhale, let's arrow the arms all the way up towards the ceiling. There might be a little tiny back bend at the top. And as you exhale, let's take a generous fold all the way down over the legs, heart leading the way. As you inhale, come into your flat back, so fingertips might find the floor, the shins or the thighs as you lift the chest. And as you exhale, let's fold down over the legs. Lovely. Bend the knees, sweep the arms all the way out and up as you rise. Really press again into all four corners of the feet. Exhaling, breastbone meeting the thumbs. Lovely. We'll do that twice more. Inhale, so take the arms up. You might lift your chest, take a little pressing of the hips forwards before we release forwards and down as you exhale. That lovely sense of using the whole length of the exhale to come down. Inhale, lift the chest up halfway. So fingertips might slide up the legs, and then exhale, bending the knees, folding down. Bend the knees, root to rise. So press into your feet. Find your foundations. Beautiful. We're going to add on this next time. Hands coming to heart. Heart lifted. Lovely. Inhaling up. Exhaling all the way down. Whole length of the exhale to come down. Lovely. Lifting the chest as you come forwards. Inhale. And this time as you exhale, plant the hands and we'll step the right leg back. Nice wide stance so you can drop the heel in. Toes face the long edge of your mat. Ready for warrior two. So lifting the chest, take an inhale. And as you exhale, we'll lift and wimble the arms up into that lovely warrior two. So I'm going to walk my front foot right into the middle of the mat, lining up my heel with the arch of the back foot. Beautiful. So slide the shoulders down away from the ears. Again, this is a posture we can get quite rigid in. So we want that strength, but we also want almost a sense of buoyancy and lightness there. Beautiful. Palms turn up. And as you inhale, straighten both legs, grow really tall. Palms meet above the head. I know you've lost my hands. Exhale, rebend the knee, look forwards. Beautiful. And again, all the way up. So finding that steadiness in your breath and then easing your way back into that warrior. Lovely. So we're going to do that twice more. Feel free to keep the front knee bent this time. So we're building up a little bit of strength, sinking a little bit deeper, really grounding through the outside edge of that back foot. One more. Beautiful. So as you settle into that warrior, shoulders away from ears, nice long neck, broad and open chest. Turning the front palm up, reach forwards. Then as you inhale, left arm arcs all the way up and back. Lovely. And then exhale, forearm to thigh, top arm up. And up and over. So we're just going to go with the flow, then we'll add on. So inhaling all the way up and back into our little reverse warrior. So we're keeping that steadiness through the legs, as we move fluidly through the upper body. So this time we're going to inhale, take the arm all the way up and back and pause there. So we've got the option to stay there or straighten both legs and see if you can catch hold of that left wrist with your right hand and just draw the arm back a little more. So we're really opening up some space in the top of the hip. Keep that sense of space as you re-bend the front knee. Oh, so we get a lovely stretch in the hip. Lovely. Take a nice breath in. And as you breathe out, forearm to thigh, top arm up and over. So not too much weight being dumped into that underneath forearm. Option to stay there, or both arms reach forward. So you're like a little sandwich press, upper arms alongside the ears. Oh, building up a little bit of strength. Lovely. Straighten the legs, take the arms up. Inhale, turning all 10 toes forwards. As you exhale, let's come forwards and down into a lovely wide leg forward fold. Making sure you're not going to bump your head on any furniture there. You might want to have a little shift of the weight from side to side, easing into any tension in the inner thighs. Before you just settle into that forward fold. So allow the crown of the head to yield forwards and down. Again, not worrying how far you come, not worrying how much softness there is in the knees. Lovely. And then we'll just lift up onto your fingertips. Your chest is lifted. We'll drop the heels in and the toes out. And walking your hands up your thighs, we're going to find our way into goddess pose. So heels in, toes out. If you feel that you're a little bit wibbly wobbly, just shorten your stance a little bit. Beautiful. Hands coming to heart, making sure you're not pitching the body forward. So shoulders above your hips. Lovely. Straightening the legs, arrowing the arms up. Inhale. Exhale, big circle all the way back to the heart as you bring the arms out. Lovely. And then the other way. So inhale, arms come out and up. And exhaling, bending the knees, hands to heart. Lovely. Inhaling, arms go up and then out to the side, all the way back to the heart. So big circle. Lovely. Last time, hands coming the other way. Inhaling all the way up. Beautiful. Hands coming to heart. Beautiful. This time we'll take the arms up towards the ceiling, separating the arms. I'm going to drop that back heel in, turning that front foot, that right foot forwards. We're back in our warrior, but on the other side. So for ease, we've not had to move too much on the mat this morning. So again, not overcomplicating it. We're finding that length through the arms, that strength through the legs, but again, that sense of buoyancy and ease there. Lovely, not holding too much. Turning the palms up. So we'll straighten the legs to start with, taking the heat off the legs as you inhale, and then rebend the knees. You look forwards. Exhale, lovely. And again, so you're building up from your foundation, strengthening through the lower body. So if you want to build a little bit more strength, keep that front knee bent as you arrow the arms up, and then you see if you can sink a little deeper. So once more, so if you need to straighten that front leg this morning, that's fine. Lovely. And then we'll all meet in that warrior by whatever means we've got there. Lovely. Again, just making sure the body isn't leaning forward. So shoulders stay above the hips, turning that right palm up, leaning forwards this time, and then inhaling, right arm comes all the way up and back, and exhaling, forearm to thigh. We take that little tick-tock all the way up and over. There's no weight dumped into that forearm. Lovely. And again, inhaling. So a little bit of flow, and then we'll add on. Lovely. Exhale. So keep everything nice and soft. Beautiful. So this time we'll inhale and pause as you reach that right arm all the way up and back. Got the option to stay here this morning, or we'll straighten the front leg, keep the body reaching back, and then the left hand takes hold of that right wrist, and see if you can just bring the body up and back a little further. Keep that lovely sense of space and length through the top of that right hip as you rebend the front knee. So you might get a little bit more stretch. Woo, take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, let's come back into that little side angle. So forearm to thigh, top arm alongside the ear. Option to stay there, or a little bit of strength. Both arms reach up on the diagonal, so upper arms are alongside the ears, framing the head like a little sandwich press. Beautiful. As you inhale, reach all the way up towards the ceiling, turn all 10 toes forwards, and exhale back into that forward fold. Ooh. And again, have a little shift of the weight. Maybe keep it moving this morning as you bend one knee and then the other. So just easing off through the legs there. Lovely. Until you find again that little forward fold that works for you. So it might be a bend in the knees. You might want to walk your hands forwards, so the arms are nice and long, and then you sink the weight back into your heels. That's one option this morning. Or some of you who want a deeper forward fold might turn your hands away from you and walk your hands back between the legs. Some of you might be able to bring your palms down towards the floor. So you're drawing the body in a little tighter there. If that doesn't work for you, just reach the arms forwards and just yield the body gently down. Beautiful. If you've got your hands threaded back behind you, let's walk the hands forwards, and we'll all just bring the hands underneath the shoulders, lifting up onto your fingertips, lifting the chest so you don't get that horrible head rush. We'll turn the heels in, toes turning out, walking your way up your legs back into that little goddess pose. Last time, hands to heart. Just draw the shoulders back. So you've got that lovely plumb line from the crown of the head down towards your tailbone. Sink a little deeper. Beautiful. Then inhale, arrow the arms up, straighten the legs. Big circle all the way back to the heart as you sink back into that goddess. Make sure you're not leaning forwards. Arms come the opposite way, reaching up. Beautiful. Sink into the legs, pressing into the little toe edge of the foot. One more time. Inhaling up. And exhaling all the way back down to the heart. Lovely. And again, inhaling, pressing into the feet, rising up. Bring the hands to the heart, bend the knees. Beautiful. Keep the hands to the heart, but we'll straighten the legs. And then toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel. Bringing the legs back underneath the hips there. And beautiful. Back into your mountain. So finding again that lovely sense of ease and strength in your mountain pose as you prepare for a little bit of balance. Lovely. Let me turn around the opposite way. Again, I'll mirror you. So the right foot, we've done this before, but it's such a good balance. You're going to bring your right foot behind your left foot. So your big toe is touching the heel in front. So your right big toe is touching your left heel, hands to heart. And just make sure you're not leaning all the way into your back foot. So find that balance, that lovely sense of balancing the weight between both feet. You might find that you're a little bit wibbly wobbly. That's perfectly normal. Lovely. I'm going to take both arms forwards, palms together. Now that right arm, you've got the right foot behind you. So that right arm reaches back across the chest. So you're reaching that right arm back, arms out lovely and wide, lovely. Turning through center, reaching the arms up towards the ceiling, palms together, and bringing the hands to the heart. So inhale, arrow the arms forwards. Exhale, I'm going to reach that right arm all the way back behind you. You can look towards your backhand. And then inhaling all the way up through center, palms together, and bringing the hands to the heart. Exhale, let's do that twice more. So inhale forwards. Exhale, so you might find that you've got these kind of tiny little movements through particularly your back foot as your body finds its place in space, finds its center. Lovely, building up strength and balance. Let's do that once more. Inhale. Exhale as you peel the arm back. Ooh, inhale through center. And as you exhale, bring the hands down to the heart. Let me come down to face you. Lovely. So that right foot, bend the front knee and tuck your right foot just out to the side of the left foot. So you tuck your right foot behind your left foot. Lovely. We'll bring the left hand to the hip, bending that front knee, taking the right arm all the way up and over. So you're pushing the hips very gently over towards the right. Beautiful. Bringing the arms all the way out to the side. Shift the weight into that front foot and bring your right knee to your right hand. Lovely. You can point the toe, you can flex the foot, whatever feels good. Lovely. And then slowly, slowly bring the hands to the heart and the foot to the floor. Have a little pad side to side. And then we'll try that on the other side. So pausing in that mountain, finding again that sense of balance and equanimity. So this time it's left foot steps behind right foot. So big toe is touching the heel in front. So make sure you're not leaning back. Bring the weight even. And again, that back foot starts its little wibble, wobble, wibble, wobble. Lovely. So pause there. One side might feel a little bit less stable than the other. You can always bring that right hand onto a piece of furniture if you need to. We'll arrow the arms forwards. And then this time it's that left arm. We trail the fingers across the chest, opening out. You might look behind you, reaching both arms up towards the ceiling, turning the chest back to center, palms touch above the head, and then hands come back down to the heart. Lovely. So we'll add the breath. Inhale, arms reach forwards. Exhale, you turn, turn, turn. Woo-hoo-hoo. Can you feel that back foot? Mine's going Wibble, wobble, wibble, wobble, all the way back through center as you inhale. Palms together, exhale, hands to heart. Let's do that twice more. So good. Just to challenge our balance. It's the thing that all of us sadly will lose a little bit with age. But the good news is, guys, that the more we practice our balance, the better it becomes. So last one, inhale. Exhale, I know it doesn't seem like that sometimes. All the way back through center, inhale. I promise you. Exhale, hands to heart. Let me come around to face you. Lovely. So this time we're going to just soften that right knee so you can tuck your left foot behind your right foot. So you've got your little toes kind of next to each other. Beautiful. And then we'll bring our right hand to right hip, really bending that right knee as you take the left arm overhead. So you're very gently pushing the hips over to the left there. Lovely hip stretch. Beautiful. Back through center, ready for that last little balance. So arms come out level with the shoulders. Soften the front knee and see if we can bring left knee up to your left hand. Beautiful balance there, everyone. Gorgeous. And then slowly, slowly bring the foot down and have a little pad out side to side. Beautiful, beautiful. So just standing, making sure you've got some runway of your mat behind you. Lovely. Bringing the hands to the heart. Take a nice breath in. And as you breathe out, we'll take a little forward fold, just bringing your fingertips down to the floor in front of you. Lovely. Soften the knees. And then bringing one shin down to the floor. And then the other shin down to the floor. You can take your knees wide. You can keep your knees together as you just drop your hips back towards your heels. Take a child pose there. Reacquaint yourself with your breath. You can always support your head or pop those little blocks or cushions underneath your forehead if you find that's comfortable. And those of you that like feeding your arms back alongside the body, letting your shoulders inwardly rotate, feel free to do that this morning. So again, child pose is not a comfortable pose for many of us. So if it's really not very comfortable, then come up to seated or come to lie down on your backs. But finding your version, there's no right or wrong way to settle your body into child pose. Some of us like the arms stretched out, some of us like to support the head, and some of us don't want to do it at all, which is fine. Let's take a couple more steadying breaths wherever you are. Lovely. And then if, like me, you're in child pose and the arms are not stretched out in front of you, we'll all meet there. So child pose, reaching the arms forwards. Let's take a gentle stretch through the sides of the waist before you walk the hands back towards you, lifting your chest so you can pop your hips to one side, free up your feet and swish both legs out in front of you. Beautiful. Where did that hour go this morning, guys? So you bring the heels quite close in towards your bottom. Ease your way down onto your backs. Lovely. You might need to walk your heels back in a little further there. Again, pressing into those four corners of your feet. Take a nice breath in. And as you breathe out, let's lift the hips up into a little shoulder bridge this morning. So again, a strong pose. So you might want to lower your hips a little bit. Those of you, again, who want a little bit more strength might even tuck your shoulder blades towards one another and interlace the hands underneath you. So you're gently pressing the little finger edge of your hand down as you bring your chest towards your chin. Some of you might need to slide your head up your mat a little bit. If you're feeling a little bit of wibbly wobbly through the legs, a little bit of shaky, you are not alone this morning. It's easy with the breath there. Seeing if we can find again that balance of comfort and strength. Lovely. And then releasing the arms out alongside you, lifting the heels if you wish, and keeping them lifted as you roll your way down, down, down to the floor. Bringing your knees in towards your chest, giving them a hug, maybe a little bit of movement. And keeping the knees towards your chest, arms come out level with the shoulders again, making sure your knees haven't dropped away from your chest, so flatten out through the back, and we'll bring both knees over to the right in a lovely twist this morning. So if your knees don't quite touch the floor, those blocks or blankets might come in handy. You can pop them underneath your underneath knee. Or alternatively, just slide your feet a little further away from you, just deepening the angle at the hip there, until you find again that place of comfort. And those of you more comfortable in a deeper twist might keep your knees tucked in quite close towards your chest there. Just see if you can soften and drop the weight into that opposite shoulder blade. And then just find a couple of deep breaths there. Each exhale is just an opportunity to soften and let go. You might feel or sense a little bit of holding or tension this morning. So when you're ready, if you've just rolled your head to look over your left arm, just bring your gaze back up towards the ceiling. And then use an inhale to bring the legs back to your chest. And exhale, we'll take a little tick-tock over to the other side. So this side might feel very different. So again, you can pop something underneath your bottom knee just to bring the floor a little bit closer towards you, or slide your feet further away from you. So again, settle into that lovely balance of feeling the rotation, feeling the twist, but never kind of getting stuck there. The breath should be easy, the weight dropping into that right shoulder blade. Maybe one of the benefits of practicing at home on our own, and there aren't many, but is that we kind of knock that competitive element that can sometimes creep into our practice on the head. You know, we're not kind of sneaking peeps at other people in the room and thinking, oh gosh, why are they able to do that? And I can't, or God, I must get my body to get into that position. So it really becomes our own practice, which is a good thing. Lovely. So slowly, slowly, when you're ready, let's bring the knees back in towards the chest. And do whatever feels nice there. So you might bring your nose up towards your knee into a little ball. You might just want to circle the knees there. You might want a delicious full body stretch. Oh, you might want a double gin and tonic, but you'll have to wait a little bit for that. Anything goes in lockdown. And then find a comfortable position, if you time, just for a couple of minutes of relaxation. If you need to pop off, no problem at all. Thank you for showing up this morning. So you might want to put on a blanket or a layer if you're in a cooler room this morning. Oh, temperature drops, hasn't it? Goodness me. Lovely. So take a moment to find again that lovely sense of balance between strength and ease. So if you've chosen to extend the legs out nice and long, you've got a lovely long spine. So the head in line with the neck and the spine there. Lovely sense of balance through the right side and the left side of the body. And if you've got any back issues and you want to keep your feet on the floor, just widen your stance so your inner knees can very gently support each other. Breathe. And again, you might want to remind ourselves of those words of Matt Haig that I said at the beginning. Breath is your mood barometer. So maybe noticing if things have changed throughout the practice. Maybe you've managed to let go of a little bit of tension as you've moved your body, woken up your body, but done it all in synchronicity with your breath, that mindful movement. So as you allow the body just to settle there, just being mindful that those kind of pockets of tension that we all carry around with us don't begin to creep back into those usual spots. So allow your facial muscles to soften. Relaxing the jaw, smoothing the brow. Feeling the shoulders sliding down away from your ears so your neck is nice and long and your chest is beautifully spacious to receive and release each breath. And release any sense of gripping or holding around the front of the hips, into your belly. And so the breath again can flow deep down into the lower belly, unencumbered. And breathe. And I started off with some lovely words from Matt Haig, his top tips for surviving lockdown. The first one was to find that baggy routine to live in. And I'll end the class with his last piece of advice. Remember, this will one day be over, and we will appreciate the things we couldn't do more than ever. This is a massive value check. We have learnt what we really need and miss, and what and who we can do without. And very often, the worst of times lead to the very best of us. Change is pain, but pain is growth. And like a night sky, we sometimes need the dark to see the light. So as you begin to deepen and lengthen your breath, maybe just beginning to wiggle a little bit of movement into your fingers and your toes. Maybe taking a roll very gently across the back of the head. Just lengthening each side of the neck in turn. And then you might want to explore a gentle full body stretch this morning, extending the arms and the legs, finding some space in front of you, finding the space behind you. You can do this if you're seated, just by reaching the arms up and taking a little stretch up. And then if you're lying on your backs, just bring your knees in towards your chest. And if you're seated, we'll just bring the hands down to rest on the knees or the thighs. Those of you on your back holding your knees might want to roll from side to side or take a little bit of movement there before you gently just roll to lie on your right side or your left side, and then come and join the rest of us in a comfortable seated position. So let's again find that lovely balance between the left and the right side, between the grounding down through the hips, but the lifting up through the crown of the head, softening of the front body. We'll bring the hands together at the heart. And I thank you for making me part of your baggy routines. Namaste. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for showing up this morning. Lovely to see you all. Thank you, thank you.